Somebody told me you wanted to be a bushcraft boy. Bush Dagger, Condor. If you want to have a bushcraft life, you're going to need a bushcraft knife. You want to be a bushcraft boy? Alrighty guys, today we're going to take a look at the Condor Primitive Bush Dagger. This is a knife by Condor Knives, obviously, and this is designed by Matt Graham. If you don't know who Matt Graham is, he used to be on the show Tool Survivalist, and he's a badass. He really knows his stuff. And here's the knife. You're looking at 1075 steel. It's a very unique looking knife. It looks really cool. I really like the way this looks. It's got a Scandi grind on it. It's got this nice micarta. It's like blue and red with 6 pins in it. And then it's got jimping on the back here, and then it's got this little notch here, and we'll talk about that a little bit too. It's got a 90-degree spine, and it's just a little knife. Feels like it accommodates a lot of grips to get up on the blade and do a lot of like scraping tasks, and kind of almost like in purpose used like a obsidian flake or something like that, kind of like what primitive man would have used. It's got a good tip here, good blade stock, thickness, not super thick. It's probably close to 3 millimeters. And the top of the handle is scalloped. It kind of comes in narrower. I wear medium or large size gloves, but I never really considered my hands big. So if you have large hands, this is probably going to be too small for your hands. Pretty basic. It's flat minus the scallops here, and just kind of this oval shape. Comes with a nice leather sheath. So here's a look at the sheath. Nice quality leather sheath. The leather feels good. I've had this for quite some time. We do have some stitches coming loose on the front here. 2 belt loops, and then you've got a loop to store a ferro rod or a ceramic rod, or maybe a little sharpener, or anything that'll fit in there that you want to carry with you. This knife does not come with any accessories. It is a little odd sheath though, a little odd shape, a little odd carry. Perfect EDC for a bushcraft boy. Can be carried however you really want to carry this thing. Wherever you can fit it on your belt, on the back, on the side. I find it hard to deploy on the back. And first of all, it'll be left-handed if you do it like that, and then if you do the other direction, the knife is tipped down, pointed, the handle's pointed down, and I don't like that. Even though it's really secure in here, I don't like that. So it pretty much only leaves the one option, and that's on the side. Super concealed. Carrying this on you is absolutely comfortable. I can sit in my chair, no problems. It's not digging into my side. It's not digging into my body at all. You hardly even notice that it's on you. So that's very good for EDC. And it tucks away. It fits flush with the body for the most part. Doesn't print too bad. If you're wearing kind of a baggier shirt, I mean, if you're not wearing something really tight, you're not going to notice that it's there. And it's going to be set up for cross draw, just like that. Cross draw, just like that. Take it out. This isn't going to be like a self-defense item. Not meant for it anyway. But for EDC, if you're just walking around, need to cut something real quick. Boom, boom. You kind of got to get a good grip out of this thing. It's pretty snug in the sheath, and there's not much sticking out, right? So Got to get a good grip on it, in and out, just like that. That's what it looks like. As for as awkward and weird as this sheath is, honestly, the carry is not bad at all. I kind of dig that. I think it would be a little better if I didn't have to cross draw it. I'm not a big, huge fan of cross draw, so I have to do this and that and get it out. If I could like have it here somehow and then just pull it out, I think that would be better. But this is not terrible. But it fits really well. Really good retention, really snug, really nicely molded. This knife is designed to be like an EDC knife that can bushcraft, do bushcraft tasks. Just have a knife on you all the time as your EDC blade, do your EDC stuff, and then supposedly you should just be able to walk into the woods and use your EDC knife to do bushcraft tasks. It's a very unique design, very unique shape, very unique sheath. We're going to do some carving, some batoning, make a little fire, just do some general testing. Maybe I'll find some general purpose items we can cut with this. And we're just gonna put it through the ringer today. We're gonna wring it out real good. It's gonna get wrung, you know what I mean? It's gonna be wrung out, ringed out. What do you think? What do you think of that? Do you want one? Do you want to be a bushcraft boy? I mean, think about, you had this on you at all times. You would be a bushcraft boy. There's no doubt about that. Just think about that for a minute. Just let it sink in. This thing is kind of sharp. I'm not going to put a new edge on it or anything. That's, you know, if you're out in the woods and you're using your knife, that's perfectly acceptable sharpness to keep working. So it's not going to have a fresh screaming sharp edge on it. We're going to just do this test with a well-used edge, you know, that's still above a working edge, and that'll be plenty. And then we'll see how she performs, because, you know, your knife isn't always going to be razor sharp all the time if you're using it a lot, especially out in the bush. Alright, so let's talk about fire. This is the loop. That's the size of the fire steel I have that'll fit in here. And mine aren't that great. There might be better ones you can get. The ones I have kind of suck. So the knife itself has this weird notch, which I'm not sure what the purpose is. Notch. Notch. The jimping. Jimping. And then the top half. So that's the top half, which isn't terrible. The jimping, which does not seem to work. And then, you know, I thought this notch maybe was designed for striking a fire steel, but not for me. And I bought a whole bunch of these real cheap off the internet. Not a big fan. I can get fire going with them though. There's like a big one. So it's not the best fire. And so on this bigger one, this notch here, I mean, just doesn't seem to work very good. So it's uncomfortable if you got to keep doing this. It works. I would say for fire steel scraping, I'd probably get like a 5 or a 6 out of 10 personally. It does the job, but doesn't do the job super well. So let's start this party off with some fatwood. And you know, you can always modify your knife however you want. You can add choils, sharpening choils, 90-degree spines, whatever you want to do to your knife, you can do. So this spine is shaving decent. And like I said, I could always hit this with a stone and make that spine even sharper. So then we'll do some strips here. It's the ability to be able to control your tool and do what you want it to do comfortably. You know, it doesn't want it to hurt your hand. You don't want to fatigue your hand. All of that stuff is immensely important if you're out in the wilderness, or if you're lost, or if you're in a survival situation or whatever. Even if you're just doing this for fun, you know, if you're fatiguing your hand and you start getting tired, you tend to be more accident prone. Like if I'm just powering through this and my hand hurts and I'm fatigued, I could definitely have a pretty nasty accident. I've never had so much trouble lighting fatwood. This took a while to get a good ember on the pile, so don't know if that's this crappy fire steel, but it lit. So I'll probably give this a 5 out of 10 for scraping. That should have been a lot easier than it was. So this is a really short knife. Obviously, batoning, you're going to be limited to the length of your blade. It is a bushcraft boy. But we're going to try to do some feather sticks and make a fire with those. So we need to get to that dry wood. Everything's pretty wet around here. This is just, you know, a solid slab of metal. So not bad for its size, just as you would suspect. But we're just trying to get this edge some use, and we'll see how sharp it is when we're done. See how good it is at chopping. Pretty good. With that bad boy, I don't think there's any way the blade's too short. It's pretty much split. Just not long enough. But if you work your way around it, it's pretty much split. I can't finish that piece because my dog stole it. I went inside to pour some hot tea and she took it. I should have left it recording. That would have been funny. But I didn't. As long as you have enough tip sticking out on the end, you're going to be able to baton it. So, small stuff. This bigger stuff, not so good. So if you're trying to get a big piece like that cut, and all you have is a little knife, all you really have to do is fashion yourself a wedge. I stole the piece back from Eloise. This is going to feather stick just as good as any other Scandi knife, with the exception of this short handle. It's definitely going to fatigue your hands way quicker. So if you're doing this, you better make sure that you got primo materials and get it right the first time. So if you're doing these feather sticks and you tilt your blade down versus up, it'll change the direction of your curls. Make sure you get a good fire steel too. Quality does matter, and this one will work, but it takes way more prep and effort. Just doesn't produce the sparks. I spent maybe 5 minutes trying to get that fire lit with this little one, and switched over to this one and had it done pretty quick. But yeah, this will work, but these were some cheap ones I bought off the internet. Nowhere near as good as a high quality one. And you know, the size of these things does matter too. The bigger they are, the easier you're going to get a fire going. So if you do get some little ones like this, make sure you practice with it and figure it out before you rely on something like this. We're going to do a little bit of carving now, try to dull this blade a little bit. So right now I'm just trying to dull the knife a little bit. We're going to test out its carving capabilities. I'd be really interested to see how this would do as a hunting knife or a bird and trout knife. Also, with this small blade, it's easy to get in your hand. And get some fine detail work done. You can almost use it like a pen. Carved one of these in a really long time. I don't remember even how to do it. But I'm just messing around. Can you see that? If you can't, you'll see what I'm doing here in a second. Not bad at carving out some chips. I'm not the best at chip carving. In fact, I'm really bad at it. But this knife does a decent job. Let's do some rolling cuts. I love rolling cuts. Not a terrible carving knife. Could probably do a spoon with this thing. It is a Scandi grind, so that's going to give it a huge advantage in the wood carving department. This is pretty hard wood. Definitely able to carve a spoon with it. So seeing that this is supposed to be an EDC blade, we've done some bushcraft stuff with it. Let's see how it does with the EDC tasks. It's only going to do as good as how sharp it is. There we go. got some simple twine. So we got some bank line here. Little rubber tubing. If you gotta replace some tubes on your carbureted lawnmower or weed whacker, no issues. So this is survivor cord. If you're not familiar with that, there's like a little wire in here. No real issues. Plastic. Boom. Boom. Paddle cord, which is the ultimate cord. Honestly, I've never used this stuff before. I bought this a long time ago. Ooh. Stuff's a little tougher. I feel like cardboard might be a weak point just because it's a Scandi grind, but this isn't your average cardboard. This is one of those fruit boxes. So let's do carry profile. Let's do the carry. So let's see how well our edges held up. So you can tell it's significantly duller. And that's at 1085 steel, but I bet you if I strop this, give it a quick strop. So let's see how well our edges held up. So you can tell it's significantly duller. And that's at 1085 steel, but I bet you if I strop this, give it a quick strop. 1085 isn't known for its great edge retention, that's for sure. Or 1075? Did I say 1085? Maybe. And this is just your basic green compound. I haven't even charged this strop in weeks, and I've stropped a lot of knives with it. So let's see if we can bring this edge back real quick. For the shape of this knife and being a Scandi grind, for some reason just the combination of everything makes this kind of hard to strop and sharpen, at least for me. I don't know, maybe I'll figure out a better way, but so far my experience has been kind of difficult, more difficult to maintain than your average Scandi knife. So I don't know, it might be different for you, but just the combination of all the design elements of this knife, keeping that edge on the stone or the strop, keeping it flat, just is a little bit more difficult for me. It's not like impossible or anything, right? But it's not the easiest thing to do. So we stropped it with the green. And it's sharper. We're almost back to where we were when I started. If I were to charge that strop with some new compound, which it's probably about time I do, we'd probably get way better results. I think it's a good option for EDC knife, fixed blade, EDC fixed blade, camp knife, if you like small knives, if you're into like having smaller knives and stuff. Some similar options you could go with. I really like the Trezola pocket fixed blade. You haven't seen this thing, and this carries similar to this. You just put this on your belt and it tucks away pretty good. This really reminds me of like the Eldris though, which you can only really neck carry, and you're gonna get a way fuller grip, but it's gonna be a little bulkier and you're gonna have to carry it on your neck. But whoops, definitely very similar options here. Another one this reminds me of is the Tops Wood Nymph. Very similar in the idea of this knife, and this can go on your belt or neck. You can neck carry it. And you know, the Eldris is going to be cheaper. I believe these, I don't remember how much these are, but they're definitely under 80 bucks. This is going for 76. These two are going to be over 100. This is like 200 and this is 120. Or you could go with a Becker Necker, which is also another neck carry knife. But this one is going to be way less slicey, but way more of a brute. Alrighty guys, that's going to wrap it up. Condor Primitive Bush Dagger. What do you guys think? Is this a bad design? Is this a no-go for you? Or are you interested in something like this? Green light for you. I feel like if this was done just with a little bit of changes in the design of the knife and the sheath, and with some more premium materials, I feel like that would take this up a lot. That being said though, this is a great EDC knife. I like it. I love carrying this knife because of how comfortable it is to carry and how well it just tucks away in and blends in with your body. It's easy to use, it's easy to get to, and if you're out and about just running some errands and then you happen to end up next to a river or in the woods somewhere, you can do some carving, do some bushcraft, you know, clean a fish, whatever it may be, and this little guy will always be on your side. So it's definitely unique, and you don't really see much stuff like that, and I think that's why I like it. It's different, and I like different. In a world where all these knives, there's so many cookie cutter production knives out there, this kind of stands out. But it would be nice to see some changes and some more premium materials. I do like Condor knives though. Big fan of all the knives I've had from them. I just wish they would use a little bit better steel. 80 CRV2 or even 1095 would be better than 1075, but they know what they're doing with it. So alrighty guys, that's gonna wrap it up for today. Please like, subscribe, dislike, leave a comment. I spend a lot of time making these videos, and it's nice to get some sort of feedback. If you know you want better sound quality, better video, different topics, I'm learning how to do this stuff as I go, and hope that I get a little better as I go. But you know, any feedback or any sort of help would be greatly appreciated. So yeah, hopefully we'll see you on the next one, and I'm out of here.